Hello, my loves. My name is Sage Rose. If you're new here, my friends call me Gigi. You can call me Sage Rose or Gigi. Does not matter to me. But I'm finally freaking back with another video. This is my second video on this page, and I am so excited to be filming because I have had such a busy past few weeks. I just came back from a trip to Big Bear with my friends, and now I'm back home in the Bay Area. And I am like, whew. I live in SoCal. I've really identified with living in SoCal just because I feel like that's more me. That's what I have manifested ever since I was a child, living in SoCal. And now I'm back home and I'm kind of like really feeling the hometowny vibes. Really feeling like, I don't know, really feeling like I am here to connect with my old self in a way, while still like being a trailblazer on this path that I'm on. But today I want to talk about why good enough is a waste of time. Because one thing that I've struggled with my entire life is trying to be good enough. Because good enough sounds responsible. It sounds mature. It sounds like appreciating what you have instead of asking for more, or instead of constantly asking for more. But lately, I've realized good enough can also become a hiding place. Sometimes good enough isn't peace, but it's instead fear that has learned to sound reasonable to us. When I say good enough, I do not mean that every single part of your life needs to be perfect. I'm not saying you should constantly be achieving, improving, or searching for the next best thing. And I'm definitely not talking about the seasons of life where surviving is genuinely the only thing that you can do, the only thing that you have the capacity for. Because sometimes your circumstances require that. You have to work so you can feed yourself, support yourself through school, support your family, or even just get yourself through the day. There's no shame in that at all. I'm talking about the moments where you know something is missing, but you keep convincing yourself that everything is fine because changing it would be uncomfortable. Good enough can mean staying at a job that, yes, financially supports you, but leaves no room for your own passions and creativity. It can mean staying in a relationship with someone who is physically present, but is not able to meet your emotional needs. It can mean moving through life, doing your same routines, and not exploring your interests because life is fine without them. It's where nothing is completely broken, so you tell yourself that nothing needs to change. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But deep down, you know that not broken and fulfilling are not the same thing. When you accept good enough for too long, you start experiencing your entire life through the lens of survival. Life becomes something that you have to get through. You have to push through. You have to power through. You wake up, fulfill your responsibilities, solve the problems that are right in front of you, and you go to bed and you do it all over again. You do it the next day. And eventually you begin to see yourself as an extension of everything it is that you have to do. You're a student, you're an employee, you're a daughter, a partner, a mom, a person who has bills, deadlines, and people depending on them. But you stop asking who you are outside of those obligations. You stop thinking about who you want to become. I strongly believe in self-concept. The way you consistently see yourself affects what you believe is possible for you. So if every day is about staying afloat, you can forget that you are someone who is capable of learning how to swim. You are more than the things you have to survive. I think I started realizing this through my own relationship with success, and it has been quite the journey so far. For a long time, I thought success would come from following a very linear path. I would work hard in school, get good grades, go to college, go to law school, become a lawyer, and then everything would be okay. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that path, because that can be your path, that can be your passion. But for me, it kind of just felt like I was taking in everyone else's version of success for me and stamping it on as my version of success. But yeah, I eventually had to ask myself if I wanted it because it genuinely reflected who I was, or because it was stable, it was respectable, and it's easy to explain to other people. It was a life that looked good enough from the outside. But as I've gotten older, and I'm literally only 19, so I don't have everything figured out, but I've started feeling like something is missing. Aimlessly working toward a comfortable version of success just wasn't enough to make me happy, to make me feel fulfilled, to make me feel like I made it. And honestly, that realization made me feel like I was going through like a small existential crisis. It almost felt like I was like, am I going through an ego death? Like, genuinely, like, what's going on? Because if success isn't simply doing what I'm supposed to do, then what does success actually look like to me? Ooh, great freaking question. What do I value? And how do those values exist in the life that I'm building? One of the answers that I came to was authenticity. I want to be able to move through life without constantly changing or minimizing myself in order to make people feel more comfortable. And I honestly felt that, like, stepping into the corporate world and being a corporate baddie, I didn't want to put on a performance. Like, I can't do it. I literally can't. And I realized that I didn't have to wait until my whole life was figured out in order to start living in that way. I could incorporate authenticity into my life right now. For me, that meant writing as my authentic self. It meant taking the things that I normally keep hidden in my notes, recording them and talking about them and sharing them and posting them for people to see. Because authenticity isn't just a value of mine, but it's also a passion. And making these videos gives me something that belongs to me, something that I can create, something I can build, something for me to be proud of. And not to get too deep or anything, but I think that this realization really kicked in for me after I was getting out of a situation with someone. The ending of that situation made me extremely sad, okay? Like, extremely, extremely sad. But it also forced me to ask myself, why did this affect me so deeply? And I realized that maybe I was looking for something in that person that I was not giving to myself. I wanted something to feel like my own, something that I was proud of, something that made my day feel full. But instead of creating that fulfillment, I settled for looking for pieces of it in someone else. And when that situation ended, I had no choice, literally no choice, but to confront what was missing. I had to ask myself what I needed in my life that no other person but me could give me. And honestly, I had to cry and suffer toward the end of that complacency before I could realize that my life could actually feel so much more fulfilling if I tried to give myself what I wanted. Sometimes an ending doesn't only take something away from you. Sometimes it reveals what you have been neglecting in yourself. If you've also been feeling like something is missing, I really want you to listen to that feeling. You may not completely understand it yet. You may not know what you need to change or what the fulfilled version of you even looks like. But you do not want to spend the rest of your life wondering who you could have been if you stopped building your life around survival and started building it around what actually mattered to you. Because either way, life is going to come with discomfort. Staying in the same place can be uncomfortable. Changing can be uncomfortable. So the question becomes, would you rather be uncomfortable surviving or uncomfortable becoming? Would you rather struggle to protect a life that doesn't fulfill you or accept the discomfort of creating one that might? But before you create a life that feels better for you, you have to believe you are someone who is capable of having one. And that's so hard when you've spent years seeing yourself as someone who's average, incapable, or only valuable when you're doing the things that other people expect of you to do. You probably won't wake up one day and suddenly feel like this jolt, this burst of confidence. But I think your self-concept changes when you start giving yourself evidence that the old person is not the full story. The old you is not the whole you. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you create evidence. Every time you express yourself honestly, even when you're scared, you create evidence. Every time you try something before you're completely ready, you're giving yourself evidence that you are capable of becoming someone different or even becoming more you. You don't have to believe that you're someone extraordinary before you begin. Sometimes you begin and your belief catches up later. And I think that's something that I'm learning by making these videos. Because every time I write something and I record it and I allow it to be seen, I'm proving to myself that I don't have to keep being the version of me who stays quiet or waits for someone else to make her feel fulfilled, to make her life feel abundant. Seeing yourself differently doesn't come from repeating that you deserve more while continuing to abandon yourself. You're being a hypocrite. You're literally being a hypocrite, babe. It comes from choosing yourself in small ways until choosing yourself no longer feels unfamiliar. This doesn't mean you have to quit your job tomorrow, leave your relationship tonight, or suddenly transform your entire life. Sometimes the first step is simply creating an outlet where your energy is not being spent on survival. It could be writing, making videos, taking a class, starting a new hobby, applying for something new, or even just finally admitting what you want. Ask yourself, where in my life am I saying good enough, even though some part of me, something deep down, knows that it isn't? What am I afraid might happen if I ask for more? And what is one small thing I can do to move closer to a life that feels honest? Maybe what's been stopping you is the fear of failure. Maybe it's the fear of success. Maybe it's the doubt that you can create something that you're proud of, or the doubt that people won't understand why you're doing what you're doing and what you're creating. But fear and doubt are emotions. They are not instructions. They are not proof. Being scared does not mean that you're incapable of beginning. Doubting yourself does not mean that your idea is doomed. You might try and discover that the life you had imagined isn't actually what you want. But even then, you will have learned something about yourself. And even that is better than abandoning yourself before you even had the chance to find out. And so good enough is not a waste of time because an ordinary or a stable life has no value, but it becomes a waste of time when you use it to silence that part of you that knows you want something more honest. Contentment feels peaceful. Complacency feels like constantly having to convince yourself that everything is fine. And if you have to keep convincing yourself, maybe it's time to start listening to that part of you that isn't convinced. Stop settling for what merely feels acceptable and start creating what actually feels right for you. This one was really close to home, you guys, because I have spent so much time feeling like I just need to get through it. I just need to do this and this and this, and I'll finally get the feeling that I've had deep down. But I realized, like, bro, I can literally just create that feeling for myself. I don't have to sit around and wait for things to come to me. That's not how you manifest. That's not how you wish things into your life. You have to build. You have to go through it yourself. You have to get on that journey in order to get what you want. And so that's what I'm doing here today. And I want to be able to share my experiences with you guys because you guys are also very important people in this world. And there's nothing that can ever change that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that this found people that this resonated with. And I hope that maybe it helped change your perspective a little bit. Maybe it's unleashing that dog in you. That risk taker, road runner, get money type of person. That dog that I know that's in there. But yeah, you guys, I'm gonna enjoy my week and a half being home. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this one, please like the freaking video and subscribe to my page, because this is what we do. This is a lifestyle, okay? And I want to share all of the things that I've learned and all the things that I'm learning with everyone, and I want everyone else to be able to share their experiences with the class. It's show and tell around here, okay? But yeah, you guys, I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Hopefully the next one doesn't come as slowly as this one did, so I'm so sorry, but I'll definitely be putting out more stuff for you guys very, very soon. Love you. 사랑해.